I think he's just testing it out. We'll see.
You know, it's always a special thing for NBA teams to be able to play on this day, MLK Day. Is there an added significance to do it here in Atlanta?
Well, sure. For all the reasons that history tells us. So, but for the league, it's been an emphasis for a long time. The times we live in now, it's even more meaningful and appropriate because of the lack of leadership they seem to have in the world right now. So I can't imagine what this great man would be thinking today if he were here watching the gutting of the Voting Rights Act, all the other things that have brought a lot of people out from under rocks that we never knew existed. But maybe it made us smarter. They're there. I'm still amazed at how many people buy in. I was watching some of the TV today, and it shows again the guy walking through the Capitol with the Confederate flag. That's probably one of Trump's hostages. That kind of thing. Just if it wasn't so idiotic, you could laugh. I mean, but it's so blatantly, bigoted, and the racism has come to fore, and there are no leaders who call it out on the Republican side, if you want to call it Republican. So that's what I would think about today, what he'd be thinking, what he'd be doing. He's such a man of vision, so much courage, so much ability to innovate, to figure, what kind of march was necessary, where should it be, how should it be handled, because any progress that's been made, it isn't because white people gave anything, it's because they had to, because black people, with the leadership of people like Martin Luther King Jr., made it happen, and took it, and made it obvious, and then, good white people joined in to try to help, but overall that's all gone backwards, and we all know why.
Coach Pop, and it's in that same vein, trying to help your players understand when trying to ban books and giving them real history, how you teach your players about real life issues. So talk about that, being also coaching your team off the court that way, because I feel like it's so important to have guys like yourself to teach young men the truth and to try to hide it from us now.
Right. These days, and in our situation for a long time, we've gotten a lot more satisfaction out of our jobs in San Antonio, and I think that's gone across the league as time has gone on, by making sure we're spending time with the players with lessons in history about people, about events, things that have happened, because I think it's been missed to a great degree. I mean, even black friends that I know would say, I didn't know such and such until I was 32 years old. Well, it didn't get taught to any of us, black or white, for a very long time. So it's not a surprise, but now that we have this book banning culture rising up, it has to be fought. Because if we don't fight it, if we don't inform, if we don't teach off the court basketball stuff, doesn't mean much. But off the court, it's important, because there's a void there, and it's an intentional void at this point. So we can't let it become normal. When it becomes normal, then we got real problems.
Yes.
I think that's the goal in a lot of ways, to change the status quo of so-called woke. Woke ain't bad. Woke means you're alive. It means you're paying attention. Now, some people can overdo it in a certain degree, in a certain way, but in general, woke should be a positive term. That I know what's going on, I'm not going to stand for it, I'm going to fight it because it's not right.
Coach, you've worked with a lot of foreign born players over your time, Manu, Tony, Paddy Mills,
Right.
Thiago. A lot of those guys, they were late picks, like Leighton first or second round picks in the case of Manu, but Victor was the #1 pick. Luka Doncic has been fantastic since he's arrived in the NBA. What's it say about the global game right now that teams are looking at foreign-born players as franchise cornerstones?
Well, it's not new. It's been going on for a long time now. I mean, you know, Manu was what, 18, 19 years ago, Dirk, you know, that long ago. So people figured out after a long hiatus, not trusting foreign players or pigeonholing them, that they wouldn't matriculate socially or wouldn't play defense. You know, all those myths are out the window a long time ago. So it's not a surprise that we have some of our best players are from outside the country.
Just to that point, a friend of yours, Coach Obradovic, the partisan head coach right now,
Right.
given the amount of enormous success he's had in Europe in various teams in various countries, are you surprised that no one's ever tried to lure him to the NBA to become a coach?
Well, I don't really know if they have or not. I mean, I don't know what phone calls we made to people, but you know, people like, well, of course, him and other people like, you know, Etre Messina and Coach Scorio and you know, deceased now Coach Ivkovic, people like that, and dozens more are just as capable or more so than any of us who have these jobs now. That's just a fact.
What do you remember most about DeJounte Murray's time with you guys?
He was a really young dude, great fun, had a great sense of humor, somebody who had a lot to learn and soaked it up and steadily became more confident, more disciplined, but always fun to be around, likable, and you know, very family oriented. He loves basketball. You know, those are the things that I remember most. I mean, I keep in touch with him all the time, just to check in.
Quinn was just asked about the growth he's seen in Wemby since you guys met in November, and he responded by saying, what's most notable to him is the growth of your team. So I'll ask you about what you see on the other side in the first full year of the Hawks with Quinn. What's most notable about what you see in the imprint that he's making here?
Well, what Quinn's going to do is, it's not easy and it takes a little bit of time, but establish standards, make sure that people understand what wins and what loses, because different players may have a different conception of what that is. So the discipline and the repetitiveness and the knowledge that he will impart will be paramount to their success. So a lot of it will depend on how well they understand what he's putting out there, because he knows what wins and what loses. So that's number one. But number two, he's very participatory. He will listen to players, he'll talk to players, he'll take in suggestions. And the last part is, kind of drives me crazy because he'll send me things. He's ridiculously intelligent. And he comes up with stuff that I don't even understand. So his mind is always working, and that's a real positive for any team that he would coach.
Biggie?